What's going on there, YouTube? Trying another fun product tonight. Just a late night video. Try to make it quick. Just recently purchased a brand new Randall RD20. The head unit. Don't know if you can see it here. Camera's kind of sideways here, but interesting enough, it's a one-of-a-kind model. I guess they made. This is really cool, actually, being that it's metal and all, but this one doesn't have the Diavlo logo on it. I don't know if you can see this here. Let me move the camera here. This doesn't have the little devil face anywhere on it. There's no Diavlo logo. But it is a Diavlo all-tube amplifier made by Fortin. Killer little amp. I'm just going to jam some mellow stuff tonight, but just want to talk about the tone of this thing. It rips. It's not as high gain as your angles and stuff out there, but you can hear that Fortin tone driving through there, especially with the upper mid-range when you mix it right and get your tone, dial it in. But I'll go over the clean, I'll go over the crunch, and I'll go over the boost, which is my main rhythm channel on this amp. I love it. But the story behind the Diavlo logo is quite awesome, being that it's a devil logo, and they made a couple batches to ship out to other countries, and because of religious reasons they couldn't put the devil on the chassis. Now I know it looks cool, some people say it looks cheesy, whatever. I don't know if that was Fortin's hand in it. I know his was a circuitry, being their chief amp builder over there of engineering, but when he was with Randall. But this one doesn't have the face on it, so I thought that's kind of unique and neat. But let's go ahead and try to clean the crunch and then the boost, and we'll be using my Ibanez RGA42 FM with the Seymour Duncan Omega bridge pickup. And I don't usually say it in other videos, but I'm using 52 gauge strings tonight. These are Ernie Ball M steels, and they got quite a nice sharp attack to them. So let's try some clean, just basic clean right now, no effects or anything. It's nice. Click on a pinch of reverb, see if that brightens it up a bit. You got your own controls. You can increase the gain, give it a little bite, more of that bluesy, little bluesy cut in there if you want to do some, I don't know, little riffs with a little dirt in there, little hair. Let's take off the reverb and try a pinch of digital delay. You can get that toolish sound when you use your middle selector. It's got a heavy repeat, so it's kind of getting washed out. It's like a gallon of delay right there, but I was using it for solos earlier, little melodies. Anyway, it sounded pretty fresh. Once again, this is the Randall RD20. Let's get into crunch territory without the boost. It's just a nice crunchy tone. Not bad. It's got a nice little bite to it. It is on the warmer side. I'm not sure if it's the ruby tubes they use or whatnot, but I like it though, you know? If you want a little more, you know, drive in there, you can get the Fortin grind pedal. You can get the Fortin, the 33 or something like that. But I mean, sometimes when you're recording, you don't want to oversaturate and have so much gain. I'm a big high gain fan. I like the max watts. I like the diesels and stuff. If you've seen some of my other vids, you know. I like the Moyer gas station on a budget. If you want the tone of a diesel Hagen, I mean, really close. Dial that damn thing in right. Go straight into the power amp of an all-tube amp, and you're in really high gain territory. But this is substantial. But let's toy with the boost. I mean, this is where it's really at. You hear that? Slight little noise. When you click on that boost, that's Mike Fortin. You can hear him in there. Anyway, chug territory. Bite in there. You can hear that Fortin grind in there. Play a little more with it just real quick. You can even get that jet tone, you know, if you crank up the treble a little bit. I have the presence almost buried on this amp, by the way. I mean, sometimes with other amps that's a no-no, but being so warm that this is, my bass is at about 6. My mid is about 4.5, maybe almost 5. And my treble is at an 8. And my presence is buried. So, and the gain's at about 7.5. back to that delay. So late. I'm so sloppy tonight. Forgive me, everybody, but delay sounds pretty sick. And let's try the distortion with a little reverb. See if we can get that 80s grit. It's got it. Pretty smooth. Even gets so simple, you know, like, I don't know, almost a toolish, kind of a toolish tone. Just got a great overall tone. Don't want this video to get too long. It's not intense review or anything. Just always like to show what I'm using to get my tones, and was fortunate enough to get another toy in the studio, and Randall RD20. Sometimes on the other websites they call it the RD20H, maybe for head or whatever, but it's got two 6v6s and it's got four 12AX7, so it's an all-tube amplifier, and it's designed by Fortin when he was with Randall. As I've been told from people at Randall, I emailed them when I first noticed that Devil Face wasn't there, asked them a couple of questions, and these have been made the same way. They're still doing it the way Fortin designed these. Get yourself one if you like the tone. They're not super expensive at all by any means. They're under $500 or so. But great overall tone. It's a great metal amp. I'm going to use it for recording. It's even got an XLR out, so if you want to do direct recording, but I prefer going through a cabinet. Tonight I'm using the Trusty Ignitor 112. I love this cabinet. I'm a big fan of vintage 30s. I use those in other cabs and stuff, but this one's got a Celestion Elite 80, and it seems to have a really nice upper mid-range bite like a vintage 30, but it works with the high gain really well, like 30s do, but being that this is a 20 watt amplifier, it pushes this one a lot better. The vintage 30 is only a 30 watt, this is an 80, so something, however that works out with electronics and stuff, or how speakers work, I can't explain that to y'all, but I like the way that it seems to drive better with higher gain. It gives a little tighter response in my opinion. But anyway, thank you guys for checking this out. Plenty more where this comes from, but Randall RD20, thought everyone would get a kick out of that. And the Diavlo devil face story is quite unique. I think that's hilarious that Randall has, they got to conform to what other people want, I guess. In certain countries with their religious backgrounds, they just didn't want that on the amplifier. So I guess I was lucky enough to get the chassis that just says Randall all tube amplifier and has the Diavlo, you know, insignias going through all the knobs, but you don't see the little face guy on there. So anyway, thank you guys for checking it out. Hope you all enjoyed the tones. Talk to you later. Please remember to subscribe. Please remember to comment if you have any questions. I love answering folks' questions out there. And if you have any tones that you'd like to hear in the future, you know, got many tricks up my sleeve with how I take basically products that are inexpensive or, you know, have a good value to them and use them to my advantage and make them sound like some of the bigger guns that are out there, and achieve some of those tones in my little home studio. But thanks again for all watching. Have a good night.